All right, so good morning. This is Lisa with Living with Lisa, and I am here with Paul Cervic, and I am very, very excited, Paul, to have you on. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thank you, Lisa, and thanks for having me on the show.
Not a problem. We talked a little bit off air last week, and I'm so impressed with what you've done and what you're planning on doing. So I'm going to give a little bit of background about you, if that's
Sure.
okay. So
Absolutely.
most important, you're married, and you have a father. You're a father of 4 children and 7 grandchildren. So
In the first trimester. So here we are as a culture
oh,
delivering 100% of the service based on 1% of the risk and done in a hospital, which is great if you break a leg or need
mhm.
diagnostics. It's set up to treat illness. Birth is a normal part of life. It's our first transition. So the big aha for me was I said, oh my God, all the Western systems are based on control and separation and mostly fear
Yes,
driven. And I said,
yes.
what is life? If you walk in the woods in nature, everything is connected. We are connected. We are soil. We are water. That's who we are.
Mhm.
And so why not develop a new business model based on nature? And so that evolved my journey. And after the birthing, I'm going to fast forward because it's just too long to go in all of it. I
Right.
ended up leaving the family business, went through a lot of trauma around that. My dad wouldn't talk to me for 8 years, and I love him dearly. And we finally reconciled before he died. They
Oh.
thought I was insane, very conservative Western business, and alcoholic, workaholic, all of the A's. And I knew I would die if I continued on that path. So moved to Vermont to raise my kids. And fast forward to between 2000 and 2004, my wife, my first wife and I were divorced and still
Mhm.
managed to stay friendly and be there for our kids, and it worked out fine. But my second wife, we've been together now 37 years. She was running the first holistic center on the East Coast called Pathways to Wellbeing. She set up back in the 60s in Burlington. She's 83, I'm 73.
Wow.
And we just had so much in common. And I started studying Traeger psychophysical integration, meditating, rebirthing. My whole life was opening up. And with my business background, I wanted to show a new economic model that we could do that's based not on control and separation. And looking at energy is the currency in this culture, in this planet. I think we're the only planet probably that has money, which is based on scarcity and control. And so
Agreed.
our
Yes.
whole thing was love and heart and focus on, rather than trying to change the systems. And I applaud people that are out there doing that. I mean, bless them. But I realized in my life, I spent a lot of it trying to change the system. And I
Mhm.
realized that to make the best use of my creative energy and my gifts,
Mhm.
I had to do all my focusing on creating. And so when we did
Ah.
our elder care approach, our whole model was not taking on the system, which again is all pharmaceutical, illness care, hospital model, long corridors, nursing homes, nursing station at one end, give people their pharmaceuticals, make sure they're safe. I mean, that's for our elders. Come on. I
I
mean,
know.
I've traveled to Europe, I've traveled to Egypt, studied shamanism, been to India, studied all the religions of the world. Most of the world, when you get to be in your 50s and 60s, that's you've given your gift and you're treated with respect and you give your gift
Yes.
back to the community. So we had this little 13-bed residential care home, and our focus was very simple: body, mind, emotion, and spirit. What gives that particular elder joy in their lives? What are their gifts? And how can we support them, no matter their mental or physical ability? How can they give that gift back to the community? And we start by buying local, farmer, organic, and we can, nutritious food. If they're willing with their own physicians, because we can't dictate, but we would invite them to consider getting off the pharmaceuticals, eating a healthy
Nice.
diet, exercising, Tai Chi, doing creativity, arts, music, getting their hands in the dirt, doing something useful. I'll tell you, it was amazing. And we expanded that over 5 years, and we now have 3 locations. And we have over 100 residents, over 100 employees. It's a
Wow.
nonprofit. Just to keep things there. But our goal was to focus on our work, not the money. This isn't rocket science, but instead of buying through these national distribution companies, we're getting canned goods from all over the world. you go into most of these nursing homes, I mean, that's what they're eating. And
Oh,
so,
it's not much nutritional value in a can,
no,
there's zero like energy in that food, right? It's completely dead. It's not alive. So that there's no, everything has a frequency, right? And when you're eating
yes.
canned food, it has a zero frequency,
Exactly
right?
right. And
Right.
in our community like that, we support our local farmers, which are struggling, and
Mm-hmm.
the local food has got a better biome in the food, bacteria and things that are local to what you're breathing and living. It's more nutritious for you. I just retired from that this past summer because what's calling me now is some of the things you've mentioned is I want to help organizations such as the ones that you're connected with and other ones that are focused on humanity, on health and
Yes.
vitality, which
Mm-hmm.
includes our environment, includes our soil, our water, the food we eat. It's not rocket science here. But
No, agreed.
99% of you, Lisa, on a cellular level is water. So what kind of water's in those cells in your body? Most
That's a
people,
great question.
okay,
That's a great question. Most people, I would guess, I'd venture to say, Paul, that most people have some toxic water and fluoride and things
everybody,
that they
I
don't
know,
need in their water. I mean, just in a natural living experience, we get toxins, but then they're adding things like fluoride and different things
right,
to our water, which, chlorine and things, it makes it even worse, right? Which is so
absolutely.
not good for us. So tell
It's
me a
so
little bit
toxic.
about that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, how do your cells communicate? Dr. Jerry Pollack, he should get a Nobel Prize. This guy is genius. He's a University of Washington professor. He wrote the book he discovered the fourth phase of water, which is, we're not just, soft air, hard ice. It's more. And around our cells, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, okay? So I apologize to those in your audience that might be scientists and doctors if I don't
It's
have it.
okay. I'm not either, and I seem to
But,
know a little bit about this stuff, so go
but
ahead.
it's called different names. It's called structured water, easy water, gel water. It has different names depending on who's doing it. And one of my most favorite people on the planet who's doing incredible work on education and helping our farms and soil is Gina Bria from the Hydration Foundation in San Francisco. And she works with Jerry Pollack. And I work with a company that works with them with certain devices. But every cell in your body has this membrane. It's like an electrical interface. And so if your body is filled with this toxic water, you're not able to absorb nutrition. You're not able to get rid of toxins. So to me, I say, think about just very simply, if you have some goldfish in a bowl in your house, right?
Hmm.
What's going to happen if you don't change the water?
Well, they're not going to live forever. It's going to be pretty yucky and unhealthy for them because they're ingesting their own junk
Yeah.
after a while, and it's cloudy, and you won't be able to see them
Well,
after a bit.
what
Yeah.
do you think we're drinking right now? I mean, even the city water here where I live up near Burlington, it comes from the Lake Champlain, a beautiful lake.
Hmm.
But the EPA regulations that make it safe so they can pump it out through these pipes to people's houses,
Hmm.
those regulations were written back in the 1970s. So what about
Oh,
all the new drugs and chemicals and things? I mean, there's birth control pills in our water. There's things that are nano. We're polluting our own bodies. And so over time, it's not like you have a camera that will tell you every moment when you put something in your mouth or you drink something, what's happening to your cells.
right.
But over time, you look at the graphs from the CDC, the medical system themselves, of the increase of autism, the increase of all these autoimmune diseases, and the industrial farming, introduction of glyphosate, introduction of chemical farming. We're
Hmm.
destroying the soil, we're destroying our bodies, and guess what? The virus has been the greatest gift to come because it's isolating and separating everyone to
Hmm.
a place where they have to deal with fear, they have to do their own healing work, or not. But
Or
the
not.
opportunity for us and the work that we're doing here to help people wake up, to bring clean water, simple things people can do, eating locally grown food. It's going to help
Yes.
your local economy, your local farmers. This water I'm working with, I've been told by the farmer that did most of our research, within 10 years, we can have soil that needs no more farming in terms of heavy equipment. And it's done. The Japanese have done it. The
Really?
biodynamic people from Europe around the world. It's called no-till farming. So you don't have to destroy that community. Every time you put the plow in the ground, energetically, you're destroying these communities of soil microbes who know what to do. They've been here for billions of years.
Yes,
And
you're
we're spending
right.
billions going to space to look for life. But guess what? It's here.
Well,
It's been
I
here.
do, yeah. And planet Earth is one of the most abundant planets of all, as far
Yes.
as water, and foliage and food. We have everything we need, and it's in abundance. They don't tell us that, but we
No.
really have the most abundant planet there is,
No,
and
the
that's why
program
everybody wants to
is
be here.
program duality. I mean, think about this. This dualistic world, black and white, good and bad,
Hmm.
okay? All of these dualities exist
Right.
in time and space in this environment. But who are we truly? I
Mm.
don't think most people have a clue of what each one of us is capable of. We do our
Agreed.
healing work. We are infinite source creator beings with skills
Yes.
and abilities beyond anything most of us have ever even heard about, never mind thought about that we could evolve to that. This is the time where this wake up, I see this
Mm.
as a birth process. And what happens in birth? And of course, I started a birthing center, so I've been to a lot of births, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then and midwives understand normal birth. And they even understand not normal birth, but
Right.
they're trained. And so how do midwives perform? Basically, they're present. They hold an energy of love and calm.
Mm.
You're going through a normal process. You're bringing a spirit into the world, and they hold that space. And if something is a little uneasy, they will then reach out, but they don't interfere. They don't cut you open because you're beyond 6 hours. I had doctors say, I can't, I got to do a C-section, man, because I'm in a golf tournament this weekend. I mean, this is insane.
Ah,
So
right.
it's like that birth process is what all of humanity, I believe, and Mother Earth is going through it. You look at what's
Absolutely.
happening with the sun and the new frequencies coming, the galactic center, we're bioelectric beings. So all of this is affecting our DNA, our consciousness. And so I'm seeing the work I do is kind of like, I call it social architecture, but I'm more of a midwife. It's like being present to what's happening here and knowing what's true in my heart and what we're capable of, what humanity is capable of, and helping assist to give people the right tools
Hmm.
that they need to heal themselves, because each person is capable of doing this. We don't need a drug. We don't need all this stuff. Our
Agreed.
body, in addition to the water we mentioned, think
Hmm.
about what's the rest of your body and 80% of your immune system. It's the viability of your biome in your gut. It's those
Ah,
bacteria, the community of living bacteria that are
yes.
functioning efficiently, 80% of your immune system. So if you just started with clean water and a balanced microbiome in your gut, the food, I think 90% of our health issues we could heal ourselves.
Agreed. I would agree with that. And I think that we eat so improperly and so out of balance,
Yeah,
where they're charging us a ton more money to
the
have organic.
transportation costs, the
Right.
environmental impact of all
Yes.
the trains and planes and ships. And I mean, I get in discussions with people about energy. I mean, blessings on Tesla and a lot of the people that keep disappearing or have been trying to get that energy out. I'm hoping part
Right.
of the work we're going to do is being able to bring those technologies forward. But,
Yeah, we
you know,
have them. I know Tank has access to all of them. It's just
great.
like you said, it's a matter of doing it when the people that are doing it can stay alive, right?
There you go.
But and I know you're right. You got to put the battery, you got to get the panel, you got to hook it all up together, and then
Shipping
the sun's
costs,
got to be out. And I live in the
replacement costs,
Northwest. Yeah.
and you're only getting 15% of the benefit of the sun rays. I heard about some guy in California who's developed a paint, and he's supposedly setting up an international company. I don't know if Tank knows him or not. I can't remember his name in the moment, but he invented a paint which can actually absorb 85% of the sun rays. So it's much more efficient than solar. And you paint your
Wow.
house, and there's enough energy. He developed a device that can take whatever the energy from the solar gain from the paint and transfer it into a little battery or something in your house. But there's enough energy from one average size house to do a whole neighborhood.
That is
So
amazing.
this is
That is
coming.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
coming, but again, you never hear about it. It's called Call of the Forest, The Forgotten Wisdom of Trees by an Irish-Canadian woman, Diana Beresford Kroger, and it is magical. Basically, the trees and the soil is the breathing apparatus for the planet. It's our food, it's our life force. And we're so destroying it. All this chemical farming, you know, and by the 10th year you've done that, you basically killed your soil. And all those people are doing are throwing more pesticides, more chemicals, more fertilizers. You know, go into the forest somewhere and dig down. You can dig down and this rich humus comes out, loaded with bugs and bacteria. It's living, it's breathing. That's what we're made out of. These bacteria are billions of years old, but we're destroying that. So, you know, there's a lot of regenerative approaches. I work with a broad spectrum probiotic, was biodynamically designed probably 30 years ago by a farmer in Denmark. And my partner Nils, he's Mr. Vita Biosa up in Canada, in Edmonton. We use Rocky Mountain spring water and our structured water device. So it's a living water product. It's a fermented liquid. It has 18 different organic plant herbs and plant medicines, the original formula of which was for digestion, was developed by Hildegard von Bingen back in the 1800s. She should be, I think she's a saint.
Okay.
She, Steiner, and a lot of the anthroposophic folks understood the interconnection with all life. Biodynamics is everything is connected. So the stars, the sun, the moon, when you harvest, when you plant, it's all connected. It's such a conscious, beautiful way. So this farmer was concerned about his soil health and his animal health. So he developed this. We take 18 different plant herbs and plant medicines, almost like a homeopathic tea. And then there's a triple fermentation that takes about a month. And you're bringing in different communities because not all bacteria like the same pH. So you have to introduce them. They get to party a little bit, hang out together. And in a couple of weeks, as a new group comes in and they all get to hang and share their gifts. And then by the end of the process, you've got these 10 plus family strains, a community that works together like on any other. They'll recombine in about 18 million different ways to address multiple issues in your body. The primary focus is the gut. You've only got like 6.5 hours when something hits your mouth to get into the small intestine. And so when you take a pill, a capsule, a powder, or something like that, as soon as your tongue hits, your body says, oh, food. So what happens? Your digestive acids get released.
Yes.
And it has to break down that material. And it has to get through all your systems before it actually gets to where the magic happens in the small intestine. So you may think you're getting 300 billion per quarter ounce serving or something, but that's not what's getting in your small intestine. So with a fermented liquid, comes into your body to 3.5 pH. So that immediately 100% of that is coming in. And those bacteria will start communicating with your system because Lisa, your system is different than my system. And I have issues going on that may have been developing over 40 years or whatever. And they will recombine and give your body the tools it needs, the food it needs to heal itself. I'm into prevention, okay? This is not a drug, this is not a supplement, it's a food. But it's a very vital food that's made up of billion-year-old organic, licensed, trace, food-grade bacteria that I have seen miracles happen for people. My wife and I have been using this for about 15 years now, and I don't live a perfect life, okay? But, you know, I try to eat.
Paul, I'm shocked that you don't live a perfect life.
Okay.
Because I don't either.
I have tools for dealing with stress, really important for people to find something that works for them. Some exercise, it could be walking, it could be, you know, swimming, whatever. But I mean, it's not body, mind, emotion, spirit. You have to address all of it. But when it comes to this drink, we've been doing it for 15 years. And in the last 15 years, I can honestly say, knock on wood, neither my wife or I, and she's someone who came back 20 years ago from 2 strokes where she couldn't talk, she couldn't walk, she couldn't move. 3 years ago, a heart adventure that we call it. And she's back 100%, doing Pilates classes, she's doing Tai Chi, she's working 8 and 10 hours a day in our garden. She's an absolute miracle. We did it without any Western medicine other than we had to go to the hospital to see what was going on.
Right, get diagnosed, so to speak,
but
yes.
Drinking this drink, and I'm not saying it's just this, okay? I don't have any double-blind studies to say that. But 2 examples. For 15 years, I haven't had a headache, a common cold, a flu, sore throat. And if I feel like I'm starting to, you know, if you're tuned into your body, you can kind of feel like your energy, something's coming on. I
Yeah.
just take a little bit more. I don't even measure it anymore. I just take a swig and let my body kind of be the guide. It's been incredible. And I've
Well,
had,
I'm gonna have to try that, Paul. I'm
well,
gonna have to be a guinea pig. That's gonna, yeah, for
you,
sure.
I mean, certainly you can email me. Happy to do that, Lisa. And
Hmm.
I'd love to send you a little half-liter to try, just as a gift for, being
Yeah,
working so hard and everything you're doing.
thank you.
But I have a website, which is kind of my new work with the water and these products, and
Okay.
a quantum signal device that helps with your microcirculation. And all of that is at my site, www.vitallivingvt.com. All together,
Okay.
all lowercase. The word
Vital
vital.
Living VT VictorTom.com.
Yeah,
Okay,
VT
I
is for
just typed that
Vermont.
out on our chat. So I will
Okay,
post that below our show when it's once this is posted.
great.
People will have access to that. But I
But
love what you said about the probiotics. I've taken them for many years. I do
yeah,
think we always have room
yeah,
for improvement, because I would rather have something, first of all, I believe something liquid is certainly more absorbable than something in a capsule, right?
especially with the
Um,
structured water as its
you with
foundation.
structured water, it's a living, it's in, like you said, because I know that we need the bacteria
Yeah,
and we need to have as many strains as possible because we're taking in so many different things. And like you said, when we have food shipped in from a different area, let's say we have something from another country, right? Whether
yeah,
it's Mexico or another country, they do have different bacteria there.
yes,
So our
yeah.
body now is constantly having to adapt. So I like
Mhm,
the idea of shopping locally in
mhm.
your area because one, it supports the small mom and pops, which if it were up to me, we'd shut down all the Walmarts right now and open up all the, if
Yeah.
let's just say that we really had a true virus,
Mhm.
there's a smaller chance of getting it if in a small mom and pop store than a
Guess
big,
what?
huge Walmart.
Guess what, Lisa? You've already got it. It's already in your DNA,
I
RNA. All
know.
these viruses, just through the bacteria and eating and breathing air. I mean, it's there. It's
Yes,
just, I mean, don't get me going on the whole virus thing,
I
but
know.
check out, please, people, if you do nothing else, be willing to go on the internet, do some research. The one I recommending to everyone right now, which is absolutely fantastic, check out the debate between Robert Kennedy Jr. and Alan Dershowitz. It's just been out in the last few weeks. It is phenomenal. And watch that and then sit with that and make your own choices about this or do more research. As soon as you had your first infection or first disease or whatever, and they put you on an antibiotic,
Antibiotic. Hmm.
killed them. So the only way you can replenish them is through the food you're eating. It's through the soil. It's through the playing in the dirt. It's through, when you,
The
it's
living organisms, right?
the living organisms. And that's why the
Yes.
probiotics are, so many people are depleted. And I tell people, I said, look, if you get hydrated properly with living water and you get your gut, okay, working
Hmm.
efficiently, then go get a blood test or a hair analysis because we're all different and your body is changing literally every second. The cells are dying and regenerating except for your teeth, about every 7 years. It's just amazing. So you can go find out what your mineralization is, what supplements you need. I see people going through the market with hundreds, thousands of dollars in cases of bottled water. And my heart goes out. I said, oh, why are you taking those? They said, oh, I saw an ad on TV. It's the same drug consciousness.
Right, right,
80% of
exactly.
every ad on TV is freaking pharmaceutical companies. And I'm saying this is a system which may have tremendous use and maybe the time is right.
Yes.
This new emerging humanity-based organizations where everyone can have a voice and everyone can be heard and you can
Yes.
become very effective at making creative decisions and managing change.
I love that, Paul. And it's so true because we have these conversations. I have morning calls with Kim and Tank and the team, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you, we talk about just this. Kim has asked
Mhm.
us flat out, what do you want the new world to be like?
Yeah.
Do we want to eliminate the credit score system? What do you want
Mhm.
it to be? We actually are creating a whole new world. So I have a question. We
Yes.
talked about getting your gut, which I believe with you. I believe with you that our gut is a huge percent of just our immune system. If I was just a listener at home, sitting at home,
Mhm.
what's the best way for me to do the other half of that, which is water? What's the
Mm.
best way at home? Maybe you're sitting on a city water system that has fluoride and chlorine or whatever's in it. What's the best way for you know an average American to get better water, would you say?
Right. Well, I'll tell you. The first thing is stop buying bottled water. I don't know if you saw, I know someone in one of the groups that we're all connected with here put a paper in the other day, which just made my heart sink again. It rose back up, however. I'm not going to let it get down.
Yeah, you don't let it stay
But
there.
you
Yeah.
look at all the major investment banks, Goldman Sachs and all of them, okay? They're buying up, and this has been going on for 30 years because I've been dealing with structured water and healthy water for probably 15 or 20 years. They are buying up the water rights around the world. And I wanted to be sure, I'm sure Kim and Tank must be aware of this, but they're buying up aquifers, they're buying up countries, they're buying up, I mean, you know, when you buy Fiji water or whatever, you know, it's Detroit River water, and they put it in a plastic bottle, and instead of drinking it out of your tap, they put it through a filter, which isn't filtering out everything, sitting in a hot delivery truck with sun impounding all the crap plastic into the water.
Into the water, right.
And you're putting that in your body, and you're paying $3 a bottle for a 16-ounce bottle. I mean, it's insane. But I would suggest that, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Do some research. I mean, you could check out my website. There's some products there. We put one of these units in our house because we are blessed. We have a shallow spring, but I have the water tested, and it has some E. coli and things in it. Okay, so I have a UV light, which takes care of that. But, and I've been using a technology out of Japan for many years, which was great water, but it was using electricity to create this water. When you talk about this living structured water or the easy water or the gel water, if you look at it under a microscope, it actually is not H2O.
Oh.
It's H3O2, this extra hydrogen, which is the magic. And that's what helps your body electrically fire up those cells so you get this gel water. So it means you're going to absorb nutrition and get rid of toxins. This device I got was about $1,200, $1,300. But there's no filters to replace. That's it. You do it once. It took my plumber a half hour. It goes into the water pipe where it comes into our house. So every glass of water we get, and the first glass of water I had, I could taste the difference. It was amazing. And it's our shower because your skin.
I was going to say, that was my next question is,
all our
that
showers.
means your showers, because you're ingesting, I mean, if it's toxic water, showers where you ingest the most because your skin is your biggest organ, right? So it absorbs every cell.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the filter, and there's some filters that can deal with some of that, but not all of it. Some are better than others, but you really have to be willing to do some research. The other important thing is, the other thing what I love the best is that we're in a state of Vermont, which is pretty green, but a lot of the lakes are getting polluted now because of all the farm runoff and stuff. So I'm trying to help farmers. I'm trying to help the lakes. So when Windsong, my wife, is out watering our garden, it's getting watered with structured water. So we're rehydrating our soil, which then is getting into the aquifer. It's feeding into the lake. So everything we're doing is supporting living water for the planet.
Oh, nice. And
they have little portable ones. Hold on a second.
I was going to say that. That was my next question is there a portable one for people that don't have access or maybe live in an apartment and they can't change their whole system in their home?
You can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put the water in this end, you hold the glass down here, it pours it through here, and this is all working with physics.
Okay.
It's basically these spheres that are spiraling and vortexing the water, which structures
I want
the water.
One. Stat. I want to get one.
Yeah, yeah. And again, in my website, you can see the link. You can order the small ones. They have a house one. They have a shower unit. But I like the whole house one. To me, it was an investment in the future. And again, I love that I don't have to change filters. It's done. It's done forever. And if we ever leave this house, whoever's here next is going to have structured water.
I love that. But a lot of people don't. Maybe they may live in an apartment or they can't change the main, they can't add it to their home. So that would be.
Take that right out of the tap into your glass. And at least you're going to be having something that's going to hydrate you. And I also recommend putting a few grains of a quality sea salt, Celtic salt or Himalayan salt, something that's got the minerals in it. Just a few grains of that in your water. And that's going to help. It works magic in your cells. It's going to help your body absorb and retain that water.
Yeah, I've been known to put liquid minerals in my water, like just put a dropper full of like liquid minerals in my water and it tastes okay to me. So, okay, that's wonderful. I love that. So anybody can do that. And that would be at your website at vitallivingvt.com.
You bet.
It's not just our physical body, but it's
body, mind, emotion, spirit. We are spirits in the
Yes.
body having a physical experience. But we've forgotten that. We've so identified with the body and illness, and that
Yes.
people have forgotten who they are. You can heal yourself of anything
Anything. I
if you
agree with
give
that.
yourself the right tools, shift your consciousness, get your
Yes.
whole system working. I don't care what it is, stage 4 cancer. I don't know if you all know Greg Braden, but he's one of my heroes. My wife and I did some training with Greg, and he's brilliant, and he's doing important work in this world. He showed a video, the first time it was shown in this country, in Boston, Massachusetts. We were doing a weekend program, and it was amazing. It was from China. They had a
Mhm.
woman who had inoperable cancer, a tumor about that big inside her, near her heart or lungs, or I forget where it
Mhm.
was in the body. Inoperable. She had been given days or a few weeks to live now. There was nothing else they could do. So they said, "Do you want to try experiment?" She said, "Absolutely." They brought in some monks. I don't know if they're Tibetan monks or what,
Mhm.
and masters in qigong and energy, and they started to chant. And what they did is they had a probe that was in her body, so you could see on the TV screen the tumor. Okay,
Oh.
and then they started chanting around her,
Mhm.
and you're sitting there and not much happening, a minute or two, and all of a sudden you're looking and saying, "God, did that change? It looks like it's maybe less." I don't know if it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It wasn't that long. That whole tumor shrunk and disappeared and never came back.
Ah,
And
that's
that became,
incredible.
that from my mental
Mhm.
kind of blew, I said, you know what? This is true. We are infinite spirits. We are capable of healing ourselves from anything. We've given
Yes.
our power away. We've given our healing away. We've given our mental health away to this separate system that doesn't know what the hell it's doing. It's great at diagnosing. It's great at doing surgery,
Right.
selling you drugs, but please
But we're so
do some
disconnected
research.
from our gifts.
Yes,
And we
yes.
have God-given gifts that, I've talked about this on air before, that, even in biblical times, people were more aware of their gifts, and
Yeah,
they were encouraged to use, I'm an empath
yeah.
and intuitive and probably psychic to some degree as well. But I didn't have a place to go. Like, I grew up
Right.
much like you, right? A very, very Catholic,
Conservative.
Latin,
Yeah.
old school family. And so I was like an alien, right? They looked at me like I had 6 heads. They're like, why does she ask these difficult questions? Like, we don't know how to answer her, right?
Right.
Like, I wanted to know the meaning of the world and where everything came from. And,
Yes.
what does this feel like? Because I was so intuitive. I'm empath. I felt everything, right? And so I just know that in my personal journey of healing, I did my own journey because I was raised in a very difficult situation, and then I married into a very difficult situation. And so there were generations of junk that I saw, and my goal in life when I got divorced almost 20 years ago was
Mhm.
I want to change my path for my daughter and my future generations. And I did so much work on me, and I love my family dearly. And I wouldn't, even given the choice, I still wouldn't do it differently, because I would
Lisa,
not be here where I'm at today with what I've had to learn, right?
you
But it's
just
the greatest blessing I've ever received.
you just spoke so brilliantly and truthfully, and I would absolutely agree 100% with you that so many people are walking through life trying to
Mhm.
change their partner or change the
Mm,
world. Okay, the mind is a great thing,
right.
but the mind is trying to control everything, and it's going to take you into the past, which you can't change, or into the future. So many people are living in fear. What's going to
Yes.
happen? I can't date this guy because look what happened the last time I dated a guy from Rhode Island. It's like, so
Hated that guy, by the way. No, I'm kidding.
okay.
I'm totally kidding.
But it's where your power is, where
Yes.
you create through your heart
Mm,
is in the present moment. And
yes.
so if you had come to the truth in your life, what I can change is in me. And
Right.
as you do that, the energy of that then is shared. And that gives
Yes.
other people less to resist against.
When you focus on your shift, your
Yeah,
enhancement, your growth, things around you change. They have to,
absolutely.
because it can't
Absolutely.
stay static if you're enhancing yourself and growing and learning. And I'm not going to say it's easy. It can
No,
be the
challenging.
most painful part of your life, but once you burst out the other side, you can never fit back in. You can never fit back in that little bubble because you're
But,
so bigger
but
now.
I reassure the listeners here today that I know without any question that within each of us is the ability to heal and change our lives and this planet, but it has to come from within us. Change here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like putting a pebble into the pond. Your thoughts, your words, your
Mm-hmm.
actions are creating reality in the whole world. And
Yes,
this is what
agreed.
we've been lied to. We've been separated from the knowledge of that. But truly, if you just start monitoring your thoughts, the negative thoughts most people are living with every moment, and begin to try to, oh, negative thought, just notice it.
Yes.
Okay, so now I tell people, they say, what's your spiritual path? I said, well, I've kind of done all the religions. I'm just into spirit. And my life is best I can, and I'm not perfect. You know, I still get angry or I get frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what? I see it and I release it. It doesn't affect me. And so each moment, I see each moment in my life as a breath. There's an in and an out, there's a death and a birth. And if I'm not in joy and not doing things that I love, that are bringing good energy into the world, then it's within me to shift it.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
responsibility of the guy that ran me off the road because he was texting on his phone. I say, well, I get a moment of, oh shit, and okay, am I going to let that get to me? Or let's bless
Right.
the guy and hopefully his phone will break and then he can get back on the road and drive safely.
Yeah, it's a choice. Everything really is a choice. We get to choose how we feel and how we react or don't react um, to everything. And I actually, on my channel somewhere, on Living with Lisa channel on YouTube, there actually is a video I put out, and it's how to shift your energy anytime. And I explain how it begins with just a thought, and then
Notice.
if
Yeah.
right, and then a feeling, and then your obviously your words can create as you speak if you allow that. But every thought is a choice. You can become so conscious of what you're allowing in and what you're allowing to react to, that but it does begin with just a simple thought and turns into a feeling, and you can change that feeling and or I call it a vibration, because every emotion has a vibration,
The
right?
hope we say, be in the world but not of the world. You know,
Yes.
you're the observer. You're an infinite spirit. And you can
Yes.
observe your thoughts, your body, your mind, your emotions. They're still there. You're not going to disappear, you know, but that's the avatar. That's kind of the vehicle that you're
Right.
here to experience duality. But guess what? We're birthing out of that reality. So go into the heart, find a
Yes.
meditation, reach out for help, look for people who could be there to support you on your journey. You're not alone.
I was just you took the words out of my mouth. You are not alone. You really are reading my mind. We are not alone. And the minute we think we are, we're really hurting, right? Because people connect through their wounds. We
Yeah.
connect through our wounds, similar wounds. We are attract one another because
Yeah.
we're meant to help. We are put here to help one another. I was born into a different situation than somebody else because that somebody else could help me with my situation and vice versa. We're not all meant to be the same on
No,
the
it's
same journey.
magic. Because once you've done your healing work, Lisa, guess what? Someone's going to come into your life who has the same issue, and you get to share
Right.
your gift.
Yes,
Cool.
exactly. And so it's not a curse, even though it feels like it at times.
I know.
It really is, you ask yourself, because this is what I had to learn. And I tend to be a little stubborn in life and want to figure it out. But I had to learn how to ask myself, what am I supposed to learn from this? And
Yeah.
the sooner I asked that, the sooner the answer became available, and
Yeah.
I got to move on to the next thing. Because if you're just stuck wondering, poor me, why me, blah blah blah, then you're just repeating the same energy. You're like you said, your feelings, your thoughts, your words aren't changing, and so you're in that static. But you really need to get out of it, even
And
as
that's not,
painful as it could be.
and it's not who you are on a physical level. Every
No,
cell in your body is dying and regenerating. So
every day.
it's change, constant change. So you're not stuck. There is a
No.
way out. There is a way to change your life. There is a way to heal. All of that is absolutely available within you.
Yes, agreed. So I think our next show, Paul, will be the different levels of healing outside of the body, right?
Okay.
Because there are so
Sure.
many other
Oh yeah.
variations of that. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining me. It's lovely to have you. And I know
Uh,
that we have so much work to do, you and I. We have so much in common. We want the same thing for humanity. And I think we agree in a lot of ways to get there. So I'm excited.
Lisa, I love you so much, and I love all
Thank
the
you.
groups that you're connected with. And I would encourage anyone who may be new to please check out Kim, Tank, and a lot of the groups and the different groups that are birthing through here, because we're doing this not only individually, we're doing it as community. So thank you for the
Yes.
opportunity. I love you all.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to post your website, and we will
Thank
be in
you.
touch soon, Paul, and we
You
will be
bet.
on to our next show. Thank you
Have a
so
beautiful
much.
day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.